Oh, I'm on a filter on Instagram. That needs to change right about now. What in the world? Hey, everybody. Okay, low-key, how do you change filters on a page? Hey, Kenzie. I am on a filter, and I am trying my hardest to figure out how to get rid of the filter. Let's get rid of that. Okay, woo! All better now. Here we go. No more filters. Not about it. Actually, you know what, though? I definitely forgot one of the most important parts of this live. It's to make sure the sun shines. Okay. Hi. Good morning. Actually, good afternoon. It is not morning at all. It is 3 p.m. and we are here like we are every single week. We talk about the things that, I grew up trying to figure out, and that I want to coach you guys so that you guys can have the tools that you need to succeed in the game of softball and the game of life. Okay? So here are the things that I get asked the most frequently. First of all, I'm going to start off with this. Every show, if you guys have been tuning in, every show for probably the last 2-3 months, I make sure I always have a hat on. I don't know why. This is kind of my thing where, when I was playing, I would put eye black on before every game because it kind of gave me that extra edge that, I love to play with. So for me, every time that I hop on here every Monday, I'm going to be in a hat. And this isn't just any hat, people. This hat says Rise on it. And if you guys are close to me or you follow anything of my social media, you guys know that I was at one of the greatest personal development conferences ever this past weekend. I was in Dallas, Texas, and I saw my mentor, my coach, Rachel Hollis. She was doing a personal development conference in Dallas at a conference center, and me and my girl Kelsey Kloss, who said she would be tuning in today, I think she's on, we had the time of our lives at a personal development conference. So if you guys don't know who Rachel Hollis is, she wrote the book Girl Wash Your Face, and also one of my personal favorites, Girl Stop Apologizing. It's basically about females and how we always say sorry for being the way we are. So personally, I'm a very passionate and energetic person, and sometimes people are just wow, that's too much energy for me. And originally, when I was this self that I am in front of those people, I would say, oh, sorry, that's just who I am, sorry. But in all reality, you should never say sorry for who you are, right? You should never say sorry for that. So in this book, it basically talks about never saying sorry for the person who you are made to become. So me being passionate, me being energetic, that's just who I am, and that's who I will always be forever and ever. And she helped me kind of realize it in this book. Also, it talks about having a roadmap to your goals in here, which if you guys follow me enough, you understand I am all about goal setting and making sure that you have the tools you need to catch those dreams, people. Catch those dreams. And at the end of this live, I'm going to be telling you something that I'm going to be launching that has to do with catching those goals and those dreams of yours. So stay tuned with me until the very end. But I wanted to hit on something. So I had asked pretty much the closest people in my hashtag Smash Tribe. Laugh all you want, that's my team. Those are my people. Those are my closest people that are either involved in online training or they work one-on-one with me with individual lessons in South Bend. But I asked them basically what are the things that you have questions about? What are the things that you don't know and you realize that if you did know this thing, it's gonna help you with anything that you're going on in your life. So they basically presented me with questions. Some of them were very personal questions, and some of them were just broad. So I jotted down the 5. Actually, I added a bonus one. Kenzie, she said Smash Tribe for life. Hell yeah. Kenzie was a part of my online training. Jen, you look so pretty today. Thanks, girl. I saw Jen in Dallas, too. She was at the conference with Rachel Hollis. We had so much fun. So basically, I'm giving you the 5 questions that people ask me all the time. One of them I'm going to add as a bonus question because I was just asked this not too long ago in my Instagram DMs. And it's something that I love talking about, which is base running, which I don't think many people talk about, but I love it. And so here they are. Let's go with it. The first one was actually, I'm going to say it's from one of my online trainings. I won't say their name because they're in a private group. But this is something that she asked me personally. She said, I'm motivated. She goes, thank you, Ashley. You've helped me gain some motivation in myself. But she says that she has some trouble motivating her teammates. So that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with. So she said, I'm super motivated, but the people next to me in the dugout, they lack motivation. And because of that, we don't win as many games as I would want to. And so with that question, I think there's a lot of things that you can do to help gain motivation for your team. But the first thing that you have to do is you have to show it. Like, you have to show that you're invested and do the things that you're supposed to be doing. So leaders are the ones that are always doing the things that they should, and they're always setting the best example. So if you're the one that's motivated, you have to be able to show that you're motivated in ways where maybe it's passing on some energy to a teammate on the team. So let's say, for example, maybe you struck out in your at bat. And because we work on, how to handle strikeouts with my online training, and definitely it's something that we've worked on together, it's not about you, right? Like, at the end of that at bat, you have gained knowledge that the person after you who's in the lineup, like, has to be able to go into their at bat knowing. So the leader is the one that makes a mistake and then goes to the next one and either goes back to the dugout and talks to their team, or goes straight up to the person that's up to bat after them and says, hey, here are the pitches that I saw, or you know what, this is something that I noticed when the pitcher did this, a changeup came, or things like that you've gained through that experience, through that at bat. Whether you won or lost the battle, you still have things that you can share with your teammates. So I would say, because we've worked on, failure recovery with the girls that I work with personally, I would say especially those people, make sure you go up to the people in the dugout, or you go up to that teammate who's absolutely crushing it. Say you're not having the best game of your life. Instead of sulking and just being like, oh my gosh, the world is out to get me, you go up to that teammate that's 2 for 2 for the day. Because guess what? She's 2 for 2, and she's probably going to have another at bat. So if you go up to her and give her all the energy that you have, and then she's probably going to go 3 for 3, and probably a clutch situation that you need her to go 3 for 3 with. So that's the thing. It's like, if you're not doing well, even if you're the motivated one and nobody else is motivated, you just pass your energy like a torch to those girls in the dugout, and then all of a sudden everybody else has more energy. And when you have more energy, that's more motivation to want to do well. So energy is huge. And one of the things that was actually a quote this weekend at Rise was, a power plant doesn't have energy. Like, it doesn't have it. It just doesn't get built and just have energy. It generates it, okay? A power plant generates energy. So just because you're in a game doesn't mean that you're going to have energy. You're not just given to it. You don't just have sprinkled fairy dust over your head and be like, okay, now you have energy. That's not how this works. But if all of a sudden you realize you have the most energy in the room, you're being selfish with that energy, and your job is to spread it like wildfire. So go up to that team, even if you feel obnoxious doing it. This was what I had to do, especially when I was struggling. My job was to not sulk and keep that energy, that negative energy, especially if I was not doing well, to myself. I have to give everybody else positive energy. So whether at first it feels fake, it's not fake, because it's my job to make my teammates better. So my job is, I fail, my job is to give everybody else energy, because they're the ones that are going to be able to help me get out of it. And by the way, I don't know if you've ever felt this before, but if you gave positivity to another person and then they go off and they do something incredible, do you kind of feel like you can almost take credit for them doing that spectacular thing? Like, when I would pump up one of my teammates, I'd be their hype man before an at bat, and they go get a triple, I feel in my heart that I had something to do with that triple. So even though I wasn't in the box with them, they got a triple out of it, and I'm almost taking a little bit of credit. So trust me on this. Give other people energy, and you are going to find that everybody's energy is going to elevate. So when it comes to motivation, that's probably the best advice that I could give you for that one. Ronnie on Facebook said, I see this in the girls on my daughter's 8U team. If they are feeling good, they play good. Absolutely. Look good, feel good, play good. So, I mean, the look good part, remember how earlier I talked about me wearing this hat? I love wearing hats. So that's how I kind of that's my look good part. But yeah, it makes me feel good, and therefore I'm going to play good. So if you can actually make others feel good, they're going to play better. Let's see. All right. I just want to make sure I'm answering some questions when you guys give them. So if you guys have questions right now, go ahead and put them on here. Let's see if I can get to them. Okay. Next thing is, when did you start only playing softball? I get this one all the time, because I made it to a high level. I played professional softball, which some people don't even know it exists, but it does, people. But I did play at the highest level. And it's something that people were like, oh, you must have played softball since you could walk. And for me, that's not the case at all. When I could first walk, yes, I have two very, very athletic parents. My dad played college basketball. He's a very competitive person. Was my biggest motivator growing up. But not everybody has my situation. But the thing is, the thing that set me apart was the fact that I played multiple sports growing up. Like, when I'm telling you this, I probably at one time, like, let's say in a span of a year when I was growing up, let's say when I was like 7 to maybe 10 years old, I could have played like probably 6 or 7 sports in a year because that's how much I loved it. I played tennis, I swam, I played softball, volleyball, basketball, like so many other sports, you name it, I probably played it. And because I played all those different sports and I learned different, different muscle groups were being used as I was playing those sports, and I had different teammates, I had different roles. I was a lot better in some sports and not very good in some other sports, and that taught me a lot about integrity. But that's the thing is, like, I played so many sports growing up, and up until high school, I was playing 3 sports. And then I went into high school playing basketball and softball, and for 2 years I was playing both of those sports. Kind of had a really weird situation with my basketball career, but I won't go into that. But it wasn't until my junior year of high school where I only played softball. So people think that you have to just play softball from like the day you breathe, like the day you start breathing to the day you go play, at whatever level you want to play at. And that's not the case. I am an advocate for the fact that you should be playing multiple sports, being exposed to multiple coaches, multiple teams, to kind of see where you thrive. So I had some coaches growing up that were terrible coaches. And then I had some coaches that were absolutely incredible. So I wouldn't have known that if I only had one experience with one sport. And all of a sudden, I see this so many times. I'm kind of talking fast. Sorry, I get really passionate about this. But I see so many kids that are just, strict to one sport, and they have one bad coach and their career ends. They have one bad coach and they start hating the sport. And to me, like, that's the saddest thing ever. Because, being exposed to all the different sports, all the different coaches, I knew what a good coach was and a not so good coach. A coach that was humble and a coach that was, thought that they knew everything in the book. And, you're not going to have all of those perfect coaches out there. Like, some of you probably have a coach right now that you don't love, and that really maybe doesn't really care for you, like, in the way that they should. But that's why I've launched online training. That's why I want to be anybody's coach with online training from across the country. I started this because not everybody is exposed to good coaching, and there is good coaching out there, guys. Like, there is incredible coaches out there. Like, if you have, I'm going to challenge you with this. If you have a coach in your life that is transforming you in the best way, like you absolutely love them and you understand that where you are is probably because of this coach, as a coach, I would say you should go up to them more often than not and tell them how much you appreciate them. Because there are days where coaching is really, really hard. There are days when coaching is the hardest thing to pull out when you've had a bad day. But the thing is, the impact that coaches have on athletes, it's sometimes hidden because the athletes don't quite tell the coaches all the time, like, how incredible they are, how amazing they are. Like, I have multiple coaches in my life that, as often as I can remember, I send them a text and be like, hey, Mike, like, I don't know what you're up to today. I know it's been a while, but, I'm thinking about you today. And like that simple thing of me thinking about them will probably like make them think about the glory days when we played travel softball together. And it's probably going to brighten his day. So it's little things like that you can like transform away, like the way a person thinks, and helps especially coaches, especially in general, to just appreciate the sacrifices that they make for you. And if you can just tell a coach today, I'm going to challenge you this. Tell a past coach or a teacher or somebody who's really motivated you that may not really, honestly, that may not even like truly remember you. But I have like, I'm thinking of this right now, and I'm going to do this as soon as this is over. I had a Spanish teacher in high school, kid you not. She was one of the hardest teachers that I ever had, and I took Spanish since like, I think kindergarten I took Spanish. But like, in high school, this is one of the toughest teachers that I ever had. But because like I appreciated her so much, like I went off into college and I found her on Facebook and we're Facebook friends. After this, I promise you right now, after this, I am going on Facebook and I'm telling her how much I appreciate her. because she was one of the reasons why I did not like Spanish, but she made me, she challenged me in ways to where I didn't get an A in her class. I got a solid B in her class. But she was the toughest teacher, but I learned so much from her, and I appreciate her so much, because things that I've learned from teachers kind of applies in some sort of way into my own coaching. So I'm going to send her this. I'm writing a note that as soon as this is over, I'm sending her a message. I want you to think of that person right now, and if you want to take a pause from this live video and tell them this, I will give you 60 seconds before I go off into anything big. So tell somebody that you're thinking of in your life right now that you can go tell them how much you appreciate them, because it's going to brighten their day like crazy. By the way, her name was Senora Wright. Senora. It's funny, I never actually learned her first name. I don't even know what her first name. She's always just been Senora. Senora Wright to me, but that's going to be my person that I message after this. It's so funny, I come up with, the protocol for what's going to be on today's live, and then I just totally added this little section because I know how big of a difference you're going to make in somebody's life when you do this, and I'm definitely going to just tell you right now, go do it, or maybe just do it after this live's over, and you're definitely going to be happy that you did it. Okay, so let's go off into the next thing. So we've gone through 2 questions. The third question that I get a lot is, I'm nervous for tryouts coming up, okay? And by the way, this is one that's kind of new because tryouts are coming up in a few weeks. A lot of people have played in their World Series or are still playing in the World Series, and after that, some people are trying out for new teams. So one thing that I discussed in a live prior is, if you're the best one on your team, and I know this is kind of shocking, but if you're the best one on your team, you should not be on that team. You need to be on a team where there's people better than you that are going to push you to bring out your best. And you need to play against competition that's going to push you to bring out your best. So some people have actually taken that to heart, and they're trying out for new teams. Okay, so if you're trying out for a new team, some people are asking, okay, what's your advice at tryouts? Because we all know tryouts are terrifying. I've gone through multiple tryouts before in my life, and I even, actually after my sophomore year of college, that coach was fired, and then I had to get a new coach, so my junior year. So that entire first couple weeks with the new coach felt like a tryout again. I thought when I was in college, tryouts were over, and that was not the case at all. I actually had a new tryout going into my junior year, and I felt like I had to be something that I wasn't. And I feel like a lot of people, when they're in this situation where they have to try out for a team, or they're doing something where they are pushed to go do something that they're uncomfortable doing, it's the thing that I'm going to tell you here is, don't try to be something that you're not. Don't try to be a player that you're not. Don't try to be like this girl who's next to you who has strengths in ways that you don't have strengths. Because guess what? Your strengths are your superpower. Your strengths are what's going to get you that spot on that team. You don't have to try to prove yourself in ways that you're not good. For example, the girl next to you, let's say you're not really the fastest base runner in the world, and the girl next to you is. You don't have to try to be the fastest base runner in the world. That's going to be her role on this team. Your role on this team might be to hit a bunch of RBIs and get runners in. Okay? That could be your role. So don't try to go outside of you in this tryout to be somebody that you're not. So if you're going into a tryout, I would tell you, stick to the things that you know. And if you have to open up a notebook and write down your strengths, that might be the best thing to look at before this tryout. I would say, so a lot of times, you're going to be put in situations or big games or this tryout, for example, and you're going to need a little bit of motivation because you're freaking out. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're nervous. That's totally normal. Before some of my biggest at-bats, or actually before a lot of at-bats, I was nervous before my at-bat. And I would say the best thing you could do, let's say if you're going into a tryout soon, open up a notebook, plain notebook, nothing on it, and I want you to write on this notebook strengths, okay? And this is where it might feel kind of weird talking about all the things that you're good at. But guess what? You don't have to share it with anyone. This is yours. This is yours only. So write strengths at the very top, and I want you to write down every part of your game, and I want you to think about it. I don't want you to just write in 30 seconds to be done. I want you to think about it, 5-10 minutes. Spend 5 to 10 minutes looking at this journal entry and saying, these are my strengths in the game of softball. I'll just share mine, for example. I'm a really great base runner. I'm smart, and I make really good decisions, and I'm pretty quick. In the box, I'm a triple threat. So when I wasn't a triple threat my final 2 years in college, but at one point I was a triple threat. I was good on every part of the ball. So I could bunt well, I could slap well, I could hit for power well. And so like these are the things that I would write down. On defense, I was clutch on making dive plays. I love to dive. So one of the things that I'm good at, that's one of my strengths in softball, is diving. I love diving. Another strength that I have is I always have high energy. And I would also say another strength that I have is I'm very optimistic. I don't know if any of you are really optimistic, or like the one on your team where you're down by 12 and you still think you can win and everybody around you is like rolling their eyes. I was that person that was always optimistic. Like, we can win one game at a time. Like, I annoyed a lot of people, but I think optimism was one of my strengths. I could probably write a whole page of strengths that I have in the game of softball. And so if you're going into a tryout and you need a little bit of a reminder of what your strengths are, I would say write that strengths on the top of the page, write down all the strengths you can think of. And who knows, you might think of one at 7 p.m. tonight, add it to the list. And then I would say the morning of that tryout, the day of that tryout, or right before you walk on that field, you pull out your strengths list and you just remind yourself how amazing you are. Because that's the state. You want to be reminding yourself of how amazing you are going into one of the most nerve-wracking places you can possibly be. So write down those strengths. Remind yourself of those strengths. So tryout's over, right? Let's say you're going into a game. You made the team, but you're going into a game and you've actually been like 0 for 10 for the past few at bats, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm not good at softball. What list do you think I want you to whip out when you think you're not good at softball? The strengths list. Like, this strengths list is, I would say, tear it out of that book and like put a nice little frame around it and put it right next to your bed. Like, because as the more you can remind yourself of how good you are at things, the more confidence you're going to have in like almost every aspect of your sport. So I'm going to refer to some questions that are going on here. Nerves are fight or flight. We can turn those nerves into pure power. Absolutely. It takes work, but those nerves are pure power. Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Okay, that's pretty much it. Okay, so that was, I think, the third question. Yep, third question. Fourth question. Some people ask me this, and I like answering it because some people said, okay, when was your first home run? Oh my gosh. This moment, I can't give you all the details because I'm going to tell you right now, like, my memory isn't that great, and I didn't know about journaling until later on in life, so I didn't get to write down all the details. But my first home run, I think I was 12. I'm literally just ballparking here. But we were playing indoors at a tournament at the Dome in Fort Wayne. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about it, but it was a tournament where we're inside a dome and they have like 2 fields split up. And the way it is, it's like when you hit, let's say, like to right field or left field, like the outfield walls are actually in pretty far. So they're probably at like, I don't know, 160 instead of 200. But in center field was the deepest part of the field. So that one was at least 200, probably a little bit more, because just the way it was. So if this was like the fields that we played on, it was like split in half. So like this field, that's where like this, the median was kind of short. But I actually hit this first home run ever. It was a walk-off grand slam to win this game for my team. Couldn't tell you if it was like I think it was a pretty important game because we were really excited. But when I hit this home run, I hit it to like dead center. So in all honesty, I truly believe I hit it over 200 feet. But you know, I could be wrong. This is where like I can definitely over exaggerate, but I'm pretty sure I hit it over 200. But I launched it like over center field as a walk-off grand slam. I think we only needed like 2 runs to win the game, but I had a walk-off grand slam home run to win the game, and I knew this was probably one of the most significant home runs ever because after the game, the umpire whipped out one of his really cool coins where, you know, this one is actually kind of funny. So on the front, it was like heads, and it had the head of like an umpire or like NSA or something, and then on the back was an umpire actually like mooning, so it's like tails. And the umpire gave me that coin at the end of the game because he was like, dude, you earned this thing, because that was the coin that they always had heads or tails before the game started, and he was just like, you're taking my coin. That was so awesome. And I was just like, yeah, it was like my first home run ever. So that was the first home run I ever hit. I know like enough details to still get excited about it, but if you haven't hit your first home run yet, it's coming, and you have these amazing feelings to feel once it happens. I'll tell you, when I hit that home run, I was not planning on hitting a home run. I was planning on hitting the ball hard. Because like I said, I think we were down by 2 runs, and all I needed was that runner at second to score. Or, I don't know. I honestly. But I was just trying to hit it hard, because at that point, I had never hit a home run. So why the heck would I think home run on a hit where I'm just like, I just need to get it through the infield. And then I do that, and I hit it as hard as I possibly can. It goes over center field's fence. So that was like one of the coolest moments of my softball career. And I was 12. So that was one of the coolest. I love that. And I'm sure you guys all have like your favorite softball moment, or like your first home run experience, or like first double, triple experience. But my recommendation is don't do what I did and not write it down. If you've done something incredible, it's just like your strengths list. You want to remind yourself of how incredible you are. So write down all the details from that experience. So one day you can whip it out just like I am today and talk about it. Because I'm sure that home run experience probably happened to a lot of other people, but for me, that was a once in a lifetime. That was an incredible experience for me. So that was the thing. Okay, so last question before I hit on my bonus one. Oh wait, no, I didn't have a 5th question. No, my bonus question is this one. Okay, so someone asked me on Instagram DMs how to hook slide. Okay, so hook sliding is something that not everybody might know what this is, but basically a hook slide is when you go into a base. Let's say there's someone, let's say if this is the base, someone's like in front of it, and you notice that they're about to catch the ball, and you don't want to just slide it straight into the base because you're probably going to be tagged out. But you need to hook around the bag and then just throw out your arm to see if you can dodge the tag and get to the bag. I'm just going to throw it out there. I felt like I was the master at hook sliding in a way to where like I dodged so many outs at home plate and got so many runs for my teams. But I will tell you right now that I wasn't just always good at hook slide. Like with anything, if you're just now starting to hook slide, don't expect to be good at it for like a year. Because the thing is, you can be good at the actual physical hook slide, but knowing what situations to do it in, that's going to take some practice. That's going to take a lot of failing. So I will tell you that when I started hook sliding, I probably had no idea what I was doing. I was probably getting called out, and I got tired of getting called out. So at that point, I was just like, okay, I got to figure out when am I supposed to slide? How am I supposed to slide? When am I supposed to throw my hand out? Like, these are all things that I was thinking about when I was learning how to hook slide. But I would say some tips to learn how to hook slide is, if you can read, by the way, you have to be pretty smart at this. Like I said, you have to go through a lot of experiences to get this. But if you can read as you're like running and you're stealing from like first to second, for example, and you notice that the girl who's catching the ball is like right on the front of the bag. So if I'm zooming in this way and she's at the front of the bag, I probably know that if she catches it, she's going to be a lot closer to me if I go straight into the middle of the bag. Right? But if she's in the front of the bag, I'm going to try to get to the opposite side of the bag, so it's going to take her more time to get to me. So if she's on the front of the bag about to catch the ball, I'm going to slide on the outside of the bag so that tag I can hopefully avoid. And if this is the bag in front of me, when I'm doing a hook slide, by the way, I'm like talking as if I'm running to second, so this might look opposite to you, just like this looks opposite to you. But if I see she's in the front of the bag catching the ball from the catcher this way, I'm going to intentionally slide about like a bag's width away from the physical bag there, which, by the way, I have an arm span that's a lot bigger than most people. I'm almost 6 foot, and so my arms are very, very, very long. So for me, I had to get comfortable with the fact that, okay, I don't want to get too close to the bag. Like, I want to use my arms as leverage. So for you, if you have shorter arms, I would say slide about a bag's width away from the bag and work on just having, as you slide into the bag, having your left arm reach into a way to where you can grab and snag the outside of the bag here. Because if you hook slide and you try to have your hand on this side, you're closer to the actual tag. So put your hand on this side of the bag so you can swoop there and make sure you stay on the bag, or they can tag you out. I like to find, if this is the bag that I'm sliding into, I like to find the corner the furthest away from the girl catching the ball and try to just like catch hold. So my hand's gonna touch the ground early, but I'm gonna try to slide into this bag to where my hand kind of catches that corner, and that's what's gonna slow me down, and I'm gonna stay on that bag. And even if I keep sliding a little bit, I'm still on the bag, I'm still on the bag, I'm still on the bag, if that makes sense. So I ended up, I was very, very wide when I would slide into the bags because of my long arms. I would slide like probably a little too far. So I was sliding really on like the outside of my body instead of actually where you're supposed to slide on your like left butt cheek when you go down. But as I'm hook sliding, it's just like a normal slide. I'm just putting my left arm down and finding that bag to my left. And I would say, I know I'm going into this like big time because I love sliding. You're going to start your slide a little bit later on the hook slide as well. Because you want to be on your feet as often as possible because the slide and the impact on the ground is actually what slows you down. But if you're not going straight into the front of the bag here, I would say, and let's say you start sliding, I can't really go into this very well because I don't have a setting. With the hook slide, you want to actually slide like further than the bag, right? So further than the bag you're trying to slide, so don't worry about just tapping the front of the bag with your left foot. You're actually going to slide later so you can get that left hand out and you can grab this corner on your way in. So that's my tip for the hook slide. There's like 10 tips in there. But if you still have questions about the hook slide, send me a DM and I'll give you a little bit more of a background, or I'll probably send you a video of how to do it. But that's my advice on the hook slide. Okay, those are the 5 frequently asked questions. I love getting questions because, okay, Chris, thanks so much for the hook slide tips. We'll be working on it. You're welcome. She was actually the one that asked me about it. I'm excited for you to actually work on the hook slide. If you seriously, like I'm talking to you right now, if you do a hook slide and you get it on video, please send it to me. Like I want to see it. I would love to see it. But yeah, if you guys have questions for me, like these are just the 5, not just most frequently asked questions, but like I feel like the most frequently asked and also the most interesting questions. But there's so many more questions that people ask me, and if I didn't get to yours, send me a DM and I'll give you a response back. I'm not followed by millions of people, so I actually can respond to you. Might take me a couple days, but I will get you a response if you DM me. Cool. So those are the 5 most frequently asked questions, and for the people that are still on here, I have been most excited to explain this next reveal that I have that's coming next month. But with all of you that have been following me for a while, you knew that in March I launched online training. And for me, that was an absolutely terrifying experience because I said I was going to launch online training on March 1st of 2019, and I decided that in January. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I launched online training in March, on March 1st, I really had no idea what I was doing. And I'm just throwing it out, I just knew there was a need for people to have a coach from across the country because not everybody has a great coach in their backyard. So I wanted to be people's coach from far away. So when I launched online training, I just knew there was a need, and I chose a date, and I figured out how to make it the most amazing experiences I could provide for these athletes on March 1st. And I will tell you I don't even know what today's date is. What is today's date? It's July, is it like the 21st, 22nd? I don't even know. But I'm telling you right now, online training looks totally different than it did at the beginning because we were doing trial and error together. We were figuring out what the best ways to do this was. So when we were going through that process, now online training is good. It's so much better than when it started. And the fun thing about everything is that online training is going to look different and different and different as we keep evolving with technology. So just today I asked my online training peeps, what is something that specifically they think that could make their experience better with this? And they gave me so many brilliant ideas that I can't wait to start implementing some of them right away. Hopefully within the next month, almost every single one of these will be implemented. But that's the exciting part. It's elevating everything. But the reason why I brought that up was because in August, so next month, which is it's coming up close, coming up soon, but the end of August, I'm going to be launching something. And you guys are the first people to hear about it, but at this Rise conference this weekend, Rachel was telling us, if there's something that's terrifying you that you're just scared to start, it's probably the thing that you need to go do. It's probably the thing that you need to set on your heart right now because there's a need for it. And Trent Shelton was also there, and he was talking about, if there's a need for something, that's your fire. Because nobody can do what you do best. Nobody can do what you do at all. And so there's something that's been on my heart for like months, and I'm like, I don't know how to implement, know how to implement it, but you know, I have to go with the same mindset that I did with online training. Online training, which by the way, we're up to our 14th person in online training. My goal is 20, but we're at 14. Like, this was something that was on my heart, didn't know how to do it, and I just started it. I just figured out a date and I made it happen. So I have decided that on August 30th, like, I'm telling you this so you can hold me accountable, I am going to be launching, oh my God, he's on here. I'm going to be launching online courses. So online courses are going to pertain to any aspect of softball, a lot of things that we talk about on the lives, but it's literally going to be a step-by-step course, week-by-week course that you're going to take, so that by the end of it, you're going to have this result, okay? And I can't get into too many specifics yet because there are a lot of different ways I can go about this online training. See, it's another aspect of online training. It's an online course. So it won't be as interactive as the current online training that I have, where we have video calls and I send specific lesson plans and have like this interactive chat with everyone. But online courses, okay, he's holding me accountable. 38 days till this launches. 38 days till this launches. It's an aspect of online training, online course training. And it's going to be where you sign up for this. You are going to get, like, I will tell you right now, like, things to print off, PDFs to print off, and actual like homework assignments to pertain to like certain aspects in the game. So a lot of people ask me, you know, how can I get to a certain goal? And so we're going to be very specific on certain goals. And we're going to work on like the step-by-step process that you should take to get to that specific goal. And a lot of these things about goal setting is stuff from Rise, this conference, and Rachel Hollis has taught me a lot about goal setting and how to get goals. And by the way, these are things that I've used and they have worked in my life. So we are going to work on together specific results that we want to see in our game, and we're gonna write it down. I'm gonna give you homework assignments. I think weekly or bi-weekly we will have online like video conferencing, like on a Zoom call where like everybody's in on this. And it's basically like a course that you will take and we will all complete it together. And so like you're going to see me step-by-step process. Like I'm going to literally either pull out my phone or hire a videographer to create courses, create content for you guys to learn step-by-step how to get that goal that you're after. So we might do a goal settings course. I'm passionate about hitting, so I want to do some sort of like a line drive hitting course, or, you know, some people ask me about bunting a lot because a lot of people don't know how to bunt, so I'll probably put together like a bunting course. If there are specific courses that like you guys would like want to take, I am making this for you guys. I am not making this for me. Like, these are all things that I've learned in my life playing softball for the past 20 years of my life, that I want to be able to create content that's specific to what you guys want and what you guys need. So these are the ideas of, you know, the goal setting course, the bunting course, the line drives course. Like, these are all things. Going Yard just got on here. Sorry, I just got really excited because this is stuff that I know that their daughters are going to love. But if there is something specific that you want to learn in this game of softball, I want to be able to create courses for you guys to go step by step and work on these things. So I will tell you how many times a week you should be working on this stuff. I will tell you, you know, should you be working on front toss, on a T-drill, on this certain thing if it's pertaining to line drives. But it's basically giving you the step-by-step process to become really good in this one area. So if you're really bad at bunting, I would say take my bunting course, right? If you're not hitting line drives, if you're hitting ground balls and a lot of fly balls, and line drives are the things that you're looking for, which, by the way, line drives lead to home runs, take the line drive course. Now, I can't tell you that every single one of these aspects of the courses is going to launch on August 30th. I will tell you at least one of them will be up on August 30th, but my first online course I plan to have is going to be up on August 30th. So you guys are the first people to know of all time about this course that I'm creating and that is going to be launched on August 30th, but I wanted to tell you guys this because you guys are my closest peeps that meet me every Monday, and I am just so darn excited for this. Like, this is the stuff. Like, I keep wanting to create the things that I wish I had when I was playing softball, especially at the ages of all of you. Or there are some parents on here, but all of your kids. But these are the things that I really think it's going to help you get to your goals faster. So I'm excited about this. I cannot wait. This is pretty much a wrap of what I've done about this week. But next week, so I'm starting to like plan out what my weeks are going to be, my talks are going to be like, instead of just surprising you the day of. But next week, we're going to talk about social media and how it might be holding you back. I know we're literally on social media platforms right now, and I think there is so much joy, so much beauty, so much education that can be found on social media, but too many of us are like looking at social media as like something that's like a release. Like when you're stressed, you like pull up social media and then you're like, oh, I was just on here for an hour and did nothing. But next week's going to be about social media and how it can be holding you back, and I'm going to go over some tips on how to look at social media a little bit differently, and mostly for an educational thing. So this is all educational. Love this. Keep doing this, because this is the stuff where I'm giving you tangible things to start implementing to change your life. And that's what this, I almost said podcast, that's what this video live is all about. It's about giving you the things, giving you the tools to help you grow in not just the game of softball, but the game of life. Like the things that, the things that I learned as I was playing softball and other sports, but like these are the things that are going to set you apart from other people. These are the things that are going to help you get to your goals faster. So that's why I do this. This is why I'm going to be doing this for every Monday from here on out. And that's why I love it. One last thing is, if you like this video or you like any of the other videos that you can find that I've done on Mondays, by the way, they all can be found on Facebook, on Ashley B Training page. If you like these, or you think that, somebody else, one of your friends can like definitely listen to this and that should listen to this because it's going to help them in a certain area, send it to them. So once this is over, this is visible for 24 hours, you can post this, share this on your story if you want. Actually, I don't know if you can do that. But if you want to share this on your story on Instagram or on Facebook, if you want to just take this video and share it with your friends on your pages, I would absolutely love it, because the more insight that I can get from you guys and your fans, the more I'll be able to impact more people. And that's my goal. That's why I got online with coaching, is because I know that there's a need for more education on this sport, on this journey of life. And I want to be able to hit as many people as ever. I might even start a podcast, Go Yard Podcast. They told me to do it. But I want to just be able to hit the masses. So if you guys can do me a huge favor and share this with your friends, or share this with like specific friends that you think need this, please do it, because that's what's going to give me life and give me things to help you guys with. So, and like I said earlier, if you have something like on your heart that you want me to answer, like I will probably do frequently asked questions often. Because if you have the question, somebody else probably has the question. And that's my whole goal, is to give you guys the things that you need to succeed. So with that, share it with your friends. You guys are absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see you next week when we talk about social media. I hope you guys have an extraordinary week and you make the rest of today extraordinary. All right. Bye, friends. See you later.